Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you were all doing well and that you were all having a great day. It's a bit of a mixed bag news day today, so brace yourselves. To start things off, cryptocurrency mining giant known as Bitmain has reportedly fired its entire staff of Bitcoin Cash developers. Blockstream CSO Samson Mao reported, citing Chinese social media sources on the 23rd of December. The second in what appears to be a phase of staff losses for Bitmain. Around 50 workers are reportedly set to go this week. The messages follow reports on Chinese version of LinkedIn warning about a giant wave of redundancies targeted as much as half of Bitmain's 2,500 strong workforce, with rumors now circling on Twitter about being uploaded by Primitive founding partner and commentator Dovey Wan. According to Wan, social media reports are usually very high. They have high accuracy posted by employees themselves. The Bitcoin Cash developers that were reportedly let go had formed Bitmain's Copernicus team and were working on the company's Bitcoin Cash Go client. They said only 1 week notice. Some had just joined the company. Earlier this month, Bitmain announced the complete closure of its blockchain development lab in Israel amid low prices across Bitcoin and altcoin markets, resulting in the loss of 23 jobs. So first off, people told me in the comment section before, rather I posted something similar like this, and I was talking about other, I guess, layoffs, if you kind of want to say something like that, in the cryptocurrency space. And a lot of it has to do with the descending prices that we have been seeing in the cryptocurrency market over the past 12 months. Typically, if we have some type of a bear market, we may see like a bit of recovery after like around a 10-month period, 9-10-month period. We see like a bit of uptick, and this is exactly what we had before. And it kind of all correlates, and it's very, very odd. The time when Bitcoin was sitting around $6,000, this was kind of the end of the descending wedge, triangle, trending sideways, whatever you kind of want to call it. And then we shot down to around, what was it, 2,800 or something like that. And it was actually because of Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Cash SV splitting. It's funny, their war within themselves actually resulted in the more or less, maybe indirectly, the firing of the staff from Bitmain. For those who don't know, Bitmain is pretty much like the leader in cryptocurrency mining right now. They control around 80% of the entire mining capacity for the Bitcoin network. So the fact that they are also having to lay off people, this is something that we've seen across the broader cryptocurrency community at the moment. I mean, I kind of want to say it is what it is. A lot of this has to do with mismanaged funds. I was listening to a couple of podcasts yesterday, and they were talking about these closures in general. Maybe not. I think it had come just a couple days before this was actually announced, and they were talking about how so many cryptocurrency projects just assumed that the market was at some point going to go back up in the middle of the year, and there were reports, and one can only assume allegations, not about Bitmain in particular, but from other cryptocurrency projects who were using their money to go and travel, go on holiday. They were buying things. They were dishing out on like lavish offices and stuff like that to make you know, when they assumed that they would have camera crews and stuff going there, that they would have these amazing offices and show exactly how rich that they were and how well that their project was doing. The mismanagement of funds happens all across every single space, not even just the cryptocurrency space. It also happens in traditional finance. So I mean, it's just very interesting. There's a lot of Bitmain has been heavily in the news. The fact that they control so much of the Bitcoin mining network, the fact that someone had announced that they were going to have an IPO, that they would be listed on, I believe, the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, if I'm not mistaken. And apparently that also isn't going to happen. Bitmain says that it is, but now we had a couple of reports from people who claimed that they were from government agencies who were like, yeah, the crypto market's far too immature for us to even think about letting them have an IPO. Now we have a whole bunch of firings and stuff like that, which is also, I'm going to get to it a bit more in the video. Something's happening in the world right now, and there have been a lot of layoffs pretty much across the planet, and it's not even just in the cryptocurrency space. But yeah, so not to start it off on a down note, and I'm also not down or depressed. I just woke up. That's just how my voice is. But yeah, this is I want to say like a running story because the layoffs are getting very heavy, and this is why a lot of people have been waiting or wanting. They're like, hey, if we have some type of a significant rally in the market, this could potentially offset a lot of the layoffs, but we need something like really major now. But yeah, let us move on from that topic. So this is something that I actually find kind of cool, and anyway, I'll breeze through it. It says, in another bid for adoption, the industry of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin ATMs is on the rise in the final month of 2018, despite the market cap setting a low point to end the year, while coin prices have been shaky through the past 2 months, with November seeing the worst losses for Bitcoin since 2011. A report published by Coin ATM Radar supports a rising interest in cryptocurrency. According to the information first released on the 10th of December, cryptocurrency ATM manufacturers opened 209 new tellers around the world in the month of November, even as the valuation of the number of cryptocurrency by market crypto capitalization plummeted. The report includes details on 68 previously established kiosks being closed, bringing the net months increase to 141 ATMs. A positive stroke for the industry and enthusiasts seeking reasons to remain optimistic for crypto adoption in 2019. These are not everywhere, and I wish that they were. I think I maybe spoke about them. Maybe it had to be a couple of months ago at this point. For those who've never used a cryptocurrency ATM, they are incredibly easy, and this is where I kind of go 50-50 on them. When Bitcoin was kind of like the only coin out there, Bitcoin ATMs were very handy simply because I had one a couple of blocks away from here. You had to kind of run over to it, put some money into it, what have you. This was also, anyway, the point is that we now see that on the side of like Bitcoin ATMs, there are also like cryptocurrency, like as an altcoin ATMs, but even those aren't as widespread. I wonder exactly how far the industry is going to go. I had assumed a couple of years ago that we would see a lot more of these, but since we've had falling prices this year, we are seeing a bit more of them, but they're kind of in like random spots. I think there was also something, what was it? A couple of months ago, someone announced, I can't remember the country, in South America, that they were going to like launch like 600 more Bitcoin ATMs, which is great and all. I mean, anyway, the point is, I wish that we had more of these. I wish it was easier for people to be able to put their money into cryptocurrencies. But as of right now, I can only imagine the difficulty of these companies are having as they're trying to launch their products, especially any crypto and or Bitcoin ATMs into the market. And people are like, no, the prices are going down, or maybe there's just not as much interest from other people who are not in the cryptocurrency space because prices are going down. I'm assuming eventually we'll have these all over the place, but I think as far as like quick adoption, these would help a lot. But yeah, I mean, I just thought it was kind of cool because I actually like the idea of cryptocurrency ATMs. I don't like the idea, me personally, on some level, of having to not swipe your card, but like give your credit card information or debit card information, or have to like transfer money from here to so-and-so. I like the idea of just having cash, putting it into a machine, and it's kind of like you're doing what with your money what you will, as opposed to like having a system know that you are buying $300 in this currency because it's on your banking statement, and it should be not that way. This is kind of at least my feelings on parts of the matter. Yeah. So next up, we have news. It says, it's quite safe to assume by now that the EOS project has cemented its place firmly in the hearts of Chinese crypto enthusiasts. Since just over 24 hours ago, China's Center for Information and Industry Development, or the CCID, announced that EOS has once again topped its Global Public Blockchain Technology Assessment Index, or the GPBTAI. The aforementioned study states that EOS is still the best cryptocurrency in the world, primarily because it possesses a score that has been able to keep the project in first place across several editions of the CCID ranking standard. According to an official post made by the Chinese Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, EOS has topped its list of valuable crypto projects with a score of over 156.1 points. However, what is even more startling is the fact that the project has maintained its top spot for many months in a row now. While the scoring methodology has not been made available to the public at large, it is known that the final score is devised using a total of 3 different technology factors, with the practical applications that the project provides to its users. Even though EOS has continued to rule the roost in China, The list also shows that when compared to previous months, there have been quite a few changes that have been made to the rest of the list. So it's really interesting when you actually look for the actual list. I can't find it anywhere. They have like a mini ranking or something that happened right here. Apparently EOS is number 1, Ethereum is second, is then followed by GX chain, or rather replaced by BitShares in the third placing. And apparently 4th to 10th spots are Komodo, Ontology, Nulls, Nebulas, BitShares, Neo, and Steam. And Bitcoin is now in the 18th ranking. I know a lot of people were getting not upset at these. It usually comes down to like when your coin kind of isn't there, you kind of like, hey, where's my coin that I also own? Apparently the way that they do it, and the other people do it as well, it's like usability, speed of the network, scalability. It has a whole bunch of different factors that kind of all come together. This is why it was like no one knows the exact methodology that they use to be able to get this, but they kind of like have like a list at the very end and they add up all the numbers and stuff like that. And for some reason, EOS keeps topping it out at number 1, which is very good. I have a I inkling that the EOS project is going to mimic the Ripple/XRP project, and that I can already feel the amount of hate that EOS gets, and I have a strong feeling that when EOS's price does eventually go back up, or maybe even moves up in the cryptocurrency rankings, there's going to be a huge amount of hate from people in the cryptocurrency community simply because they either haven't, once again, done their own research, or just maybe never bought any EOS when the price was low enough. But this is across the board. If you pay attention to the news that EOS is actually in, the people who are adopting them, and now the rumors, I don't know if it has it somewhere around here. No. There's like rumors now that EOS may actually have been in talks with China, and I still firmly believe at some point we're going to get news from China that if they're completely never ever going to accept cryptocurrencies, or that they're going to be building on a couple of projects. I can only assume that maybe there have been a lot of cryptocurrency teams who have tried to get into China, simply because if you can be the first one there and you can grab that entire 1 billion person market, then you are the winner. I can only assume that the people from EOS have probably try to fly into China and talk to someone. I know the Ripple team has done so. I think that there were rumors before that they were trying to get their, like, an office built there or something like that, which is completely insane to even think about. Anyway, the point is, this keeps happening over and over. EOS is constantly number 1. It's interesting to see that Ethereum is actually number 2 as well. It's no honest surprise that Bitcoin is number 18. We know that Bitcoin is slow and laggy. The technology has been improved on multiple times, but people usually end up upset because they think that Bitcoin has the best technology. I will tell you right now, it doesn't. Even when you listen to like Bitcoin maximalists talk about it, they know that it doesn't. It's just a matter of the 2nd and 3rd and 4th and 18th layer solutions that Bitcoin will make the network and the blockchain and everything else around it more secure and faster. But as of right now, as a chain by itself, this is why the distinction comes in. If it's just Bitcoin and just EOS, their chains alone, this is where the ranking kind of comes in. Anyway, that is very interesting, and I'm pretty sure, because usually when the Chinese one comes out, this is typically when we have the Weiss ratings also coming out as well, and they typically also have like similar numbers and stuff like that. But Weiss also leans towards EOS, and they've spoken highly of the Ripple project, and they have even talked about it being used around the world and what have you. But yeah, I thought these rankings are interesting, at least for me. I find it interesting that a country that has banned cryptocurrencies on their land, on their earth, no, that's not, anyway, that they are so diehard when it comes to actually ranking cryptocurrencies and throwing blockchain conventions. It's kind of interesting to me. So for those who haven't noticed, at least at the time of me making this video, sorry for the shock, until just hours ago, Bitcoin and altcoin markets looked as promising as they have in quite some time. After gaining over 30% from the December 25th lows of 3,200, Bitcoin is plunging downwards once again. As usual, the rest of the market has followed suit. After a series of short squeezes, SOL volume heavily increased as cryptocurrency prices rose significantly. Bears have regained momentum. I actually hate that, and I'll tell you why in a second, at least for the time being, as several large red candles have pushed Bitcoin back down under the $3,800 range. After seeing prices above 4,200 last night, the current fluctuations represent a drop of nearly 10% in the past 24 hours. Just a quick side note, I hate when I'm reading around and I'm looking for information on what's happening or has happened in the cryptocurrency space over the last day or day and a half, 2 days, what have you. Any movement down that we have is constantly written about as if like these mythical bears have suddenly come from the shadows. It has nothing to do, obviously, with actual bears, but it just has to do, it could be like 5 heavy-handed investors who are pushing the prices down, who have sold a significant amount of Bitcoin that they know is mathematically enough to be able to drop prices down to where they currently are right now. It has nothing to do with bears, and I'm so tired of, I was talking to someone about a day or two ago, and I'm so tired of articles where like, if prices go up by like 3%, it's like, are the bulls back? Is the euphoria back? And it's like, no, the prices have just moved by 2 or 3% in either direction. What we have right now is actually a bit more of a decrease than 2 or 3%. The market is actually slumping pretty heavily. There is no instant and or accurate information at the time of me making this video, simply because I am in Europe and I'm in the future, if you kind of want to say that, to the rest of the Western world who is still not awake. What it appears to be as of right now is, for those who have not been paying attention, the US stock market is going through a very rough time right now. Depending on where you read or who you get your information from or what have you, it is not looking good. There are now talks of a recession. We were talking about this a couple of days ago, and the indications as of right now, according to the market analysts, look like the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ and what everything else are actually in bearish territory, because their entire 2018 gains have been completely wiped out. They're almost at the same level, if not a bit lower. Without diving too much into it, it appears that it's an accumulation of multiple things. It has to do with the Federal Reserve announcing that they are going to raise interest rates, and that they potentially plan on doing so twice again next year, which is very, if you have, put it this way, if you're a major player in finance and you are trying to get free money and kind of, take out loans and stuff like that, you want the interest rates to be as low as possible, because that is an indication of how much you have to pay back. So news that the Federal Reserve is thinking about raising those rates and therefore making loaning out money and taking out money more expensive. This is very usually detrimental to what we see in the wider markets. We also have indications of a potential trade war in the United States between China that doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon, as both sides aren't budging. Even though they say that they're going to budge, analysts are thinking right now that this could, if we do have proper clarification that there's going to be a bit of a trade war and tariffs are going to be raised, and therefore it's going to put a squeeze, if you will, on what's happening across the world. Think about that. That is also an indication. And also apparently over the last day or two, according to news outlets, the US government is shut down because of a wall or something like that. And that also doesn't provide relief for what people typically call like a Santa Claus rally. This is why I say Santa is a no-show. So the correlation that we have right now, at least, is that the cryptocurrency market, while not as mature as other markets yet, because the Bitcoin is 9 years old and the rest of the market at large is anywhere from 3 to 5 years old. Whenever and you feel like crypto's a bit older, but this is how the market is. So we are kind of in the what's it called, in the box with like tech stocks. Tech stocks are actually faring the worst. They are Amazon, they're Apple, they're Google, fourth name. And what's happening, and I mean, not to completely switch the trend of the video, but I mean, it all has to do with finance. And typically, what we're seeing right now is that the traditional financial space has more to do with crypto than we actually thought. As people are taking their money out of the stock markets, typically what we're seeing is that they are taking their money out from tech stocks first, and it just so happens that cryptocurrency also has to do with tech, and we're seen as a more risky investment, which we are. To be fair, crypto is probably one of the riskiest things you will ever do in your entire life, just as a side note, just in case you did not know. So when people are trying to figure out what is very risky to take their money out of, we've seen them completely vacuuming their money back from tech stocks. And it appears that there's a correlation with the cryptocurrency market as well, as in when markets are going down in the traditional stock markets, people take their money out of what they deem to be too risky. And yeah, crypto just kind of falls into that category as well. So once again, the thing is, we need to break away, or break free, if you will, from the stock market. We need like an actual major run up in cryptocurrencies. And I still hope, and this is, I need to stop hoping about stuff. We need, and this is the, and I hate that I even have to say that, because crypto should be a place where we don't need major financial entities, you know, if you will. We should be I wish that we had the foresight to create our own space, but as of right, I think so many, and this is me ranting, I think so many people in the cryptocurrency space, developers, not me and you and I think they were very lax when it came to creating things for the cryptocurrency space. They focus so heavily on scaling proposals and conditions and upgrades and all these other things that we still don't have yet. And that's not even just pointing a finger at Ethereum. I feel like if they had made more of a movement, I don't know, not against traditional finance, but like try to usurp it completely. There was a lot of like, we'll sit on our side and you'll sit on your side. The traditional financial market is far too large to just sit on your side, and they will peer over your shoulder to see exactly what you're doing. And then when we had a situation where we almost hit $1 trillion market, that was definitely them trying to realize, hey, I want to also play your game as well. So anyway, the point is that crypto needs to define itself. And this is why I shudder to say the word need, because at this point, if crypto is going to really make it, and I know a lot of people may not agree with this just logically and mathematically, we need the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ to kind of launch their products. There was news once again that the entire batch thing, the BAKKT, we're supposed to have that on the 24th of next month. And what that's looking like now is that apparently it may get delayed again, but it looks like it may just be delayed like 3, 4, 5, 6 days. This is kind of the trending news around it. If you search for backed and do like the last week, you'll find news about it. And that simply comes down to, once again, not only is the CFTC taking their time when it comes to writing their signatures on a couple of pieces of paper, the government shutdown of the United States is apparently also a factor in this as well when it comes to getting paperwork pushed through. So as time continues to go forward and forward and forward, and the market doesn't really, like, the market kind of moves up, the cryptocurrency market moves up when we think that we're going to have some type of significant movement eventually in the market. But when we have news that the thing that we've been waiting for since the 12th of this month is not happening until the 24th of next month, and then now potentially not until the 29th. And if we get news or information that it's not going to happen until the middle of February, that is also going to be a major blow to the stomach for the cryptocurrency space. So as of right now, prices are down, and it looks like I said at the time of me making this video, that it appears because especially over the last not even 24 hours, the last 12 hours, the traditional financial markets are just completely doing bad, and it appears that there was like a late crypto sell-off as well. Anyway, to end my rant, I guess that's kind of gonna do it for that topic. It's very, for years when crypto wasn't really doing that much, and the broader traditional financial markets were doing very well, and there was, I mean, we've been having more or less a 10-year bull run in traditional finance. It was expected that crypto would was not correlated and would eventually decouple itself. But what we see right now is that across the entirety of the market, not only is when the stock markets fall, Bitcoin in particular falls, and then when Bitcoin falls, the rest of the market also plunges as well. Crypto needs to find its own voice, its own space, because this can't continue any longer. Especially, imagine if we have major indications over the next 3-4 weeks, if this stock market continues falling as a whole, especially around the world. Like the rest of the markets around the world are also looking a bit shaky, because everyone points the finger and stares at what's happening to the US, and they use that as like a mirror to exactly what's going to happen to them. If the world's stock markets end up falling or enter recession territory, what then happens to crypto? Like, are we also going to have a major sell-off because the rest of the world can't get it together? So I mean, crypto, there's so many people in crypto, the people who are making these projects. And I mean, the fact that there's not better like PR or like public relations when it comes to these cryptocurrency projects, so that we don't have like a better face out there for some of these projects. Like, I understand decentralization. Like, I really get it. I totally get it. Like, I promise you, I get it. That's not how humans work. We are not machines. We need to have a face to the project. We need to have a face to see someone smiling on television, to tell us about their upgrades, to tell us about their so-and-so, about their projects. As of right now, I think that a lot of the people in the cryptocurrency space thought, and this is what I've gathered from having listened to them for quite some time, I think that they thought that they could create something, throw it into the world, and it would be able to grow on its own. Even Bitcoin has not been able to grow on its own. Bitcoin has grown in part because of things like the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ and Fidelity and so mentioning them on TV. It creates not validity, but it creates like this you're real type of thing. Anyway, I think I'm pretty much done. Not to, like, I didn't or don't mean to make it sound negative. It's more like the people in crypto, the leaders in this space really have to get it together, because when the market is falling, like, this shows that we need to have created something already that pushes us aside from the normal traditional markets. Like, we should have something at this point, maybe even at the very beginnings of it, where when that market is going down, ours even shows like a bit uptick in price, and we can kind of say, yeah, you know, ours isn't correlated to yours because ours is far more superior. But as of right now, who knows? Let's move on. To kind of finish it on a bit more of a light note, if you will, we've had news over the last couple of weeks that the Lightning Network has actually been faring very well. It appears, it says, recently OpenNode developer Rui Gomez posted some impressive stats on Twitter that clearly showcase the Bitcoin Lightning Network's amazing transaction capabilities. Not only that, he also demonstrated how this off-chain system that can facilitate instant scalable transactions has been growing at an amazing pace over the past few weeks. For example, Gomez posted figures that show that the Bitcoin Lightning Network already has the capacity to facilitate transactions worth 500 BTC. That's in one go. The number was further verified by analyst provider 1ML, who said that the current node channels that support the scaling protocol have the ability to accept 496.49 BTC, a sum that currently amounts to around 1.93 million US dollars. What's interesting about all of this, like I've said before in other videos, is that this uptick keeps happening, and it's happening at a rapid pace. We're talking about the Lightning Network maybe once, maybe even twice per week at this point, and we're going to get into a situation, I think it's going to happen very soon. We had a news before that Tim Draper was talking about the Bitcoin Lightning Network having some type of correlation to Starbucks and Tesla and all this other stuff being able to receive Bitcoin transactions. The more Bitcoin that goes into the Lightning Network, and it's kind of stuck there, if you kind of want to say that, the further the scarcity of Bitcoin actually floating around in the ecosystem as it's being used as a payment channel. And then as the price of Bitcoin eventually, hopefully, fingers crossed, goes up in the future as well, as more Bitcoin is pushed inside of it, this will show that, you know, in one go, you'd be able to have these major transactions. The way that I told you before that is looking like right now is that a lot of Bitcoin maximalists don't ever want to update the code of Bitcoin, which I think is interesting. And they are of the mindset that the Lightning Network will be used to facilitate, I guess, smaller transactions, if you kind of want to say it that way, i.e., if you're trying to send $100,000 or if you're trying to send 15 cents worth of something, you will use the Lightning Network. But if you're trying to if you're trying to send like $49 million at once, you will simply use the normal blockchain, and it's all crypto politics. Not going to get into it, but as of right now, it's nice to see that something is moving ahead. We've also had news before that Litecoin is apparently also trying to adopt the Lightning Network. We also had news from the Stellar team that they were also going to try and implement and or lay the Lightning Network on top of their platform. Neither one of those has really been in the news in the last couple of days, weeks, kind of ish. There's also like other coins as well who are thinking of using the Lightning Network. Very good for them. I hope it actually works out. I hope that this, I want to say, goes off without a hitch, because, I mean, at some point the market will have to move up, and we need to find a way to be able to, because, and I'll be 1,000% honest with you, I'm terrified of, first of all, we've had a 12-month bear market. like an actual bear market. And we have to find a way to be able to corral people and or let them know that Lightning exists so that they can send Lightning Network payments. Because typically what we saw, especially last year when the prices were going completely insane, if you there's I think it's called blockchain.com. I think that's what it is. There should be something up here where it says like transactions and stuff like that, and you can see like it's like a cascade of transactions. It's very, very weird. You can see all the transactions that are flowing through the network at that time, and typically you see transactions for like, it's like $1.30 worth of Bitcoin, $15 worth of Bitcoin, $103, $8, like flowing through the system. And what ended up happening was last year is that so many people were sending these transactions that it clogged up the entirety of the network. If we can have instant transactions flowing through the Lightning Network next year, hopefully, when prices are going back up, that'll completely make it so that there are almost no clogs happening on the Bitcoin network, which is something that we desperately need. Because, like I said, realistically, if we have another situation again where Bitcoin shows its face and the price starts going completely up and everyone realizes, hey, once again, we have 200,000 transactions that are backed up and we can't really do anything on the network, that will also then potentially be cause for people to say, hey, Bitcoin's still not ready. I'm cashing out because I can't send any money back and forth. This is why I still think that there's such a huge push towards Lightning Network, and not just like in general as like, oh, we need to use this. I mean, as far as like from actual industry players, and I'm waiting for them to start mentioning it a bit more. And I think that'll be the tipping point. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. The tipping point into more people actually opening up Lightning nodes, and people already have like the little stickers like Lightning Network accepted here and stuff like that. So let's hope that that continues on. Just to look at the prices, so Bitcoin was at 4,200 for those who are not looking at the screen. Bitcoin was at 4,200 yesterday. I think it was 4,256, something crazy like that. And we had a lot of news articles that were talking about, is Bitcoin about to hit 4,500? Because that was seen as another mental barrier, sitting next to the $5,000 number. At the moment, the market at large has completely fallen. Bitcoin Cash obviously has fallen because of the Bitmain news. When you have news, and I'll tell you this as well, when you have news that Bitcoin Cash in particular, that is also being mined by the largest Bitcoin miner in the entire world, has laid off the entirety of their team. This is where you get a dip like this. We also had news a couple of weeks ago that apparently in this bear downtrend market, that the Bitmain team could have potentially started selling off their Bitcoin Cash stake, because they also hold a huge amount of them as well, obviously, to be able to pay their employees and stuff like that, because a lot of people don't want to sell Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still seen as Bitcoin. It's number one. It's up there. So there were rumors that a lot of other places who were mining Bitcoin and also had been doing it before and had the Bitcoin Cash tokens from the forks and what have you were also starting to sell off their coins to be able to pay their employees. XRP is down a tiny bit even after the little run up that we had from Binance yesterday, where they announced that they were going to list XRP as their base pair. It's funny how the human mind works. It's actually wonderful, because the moment that I released that video and I was talking about how XRP had gone up, people were talking about it was a pump, it was a dump. So-and-so, like, they're only doing it to try and make money. Yes, obviously, this is what Binance is for. And then at some point last night, I checked, I think the comment section is something like that, and people were commenting on how XRP was going down and the price is definitely dropping. Yeah, man, this was just a huge pump and dump. And then the moment that the rest of the broader market also started going down, those comments stopped immediately. I don't know. I mean, if you feel that threatened by a computer protocol, it may be just time to leave crypto alone for a bit. It may not be that healthy for you. You did not create XRP. If you believe in your heart of hearts that Bitcoin is going to be the dominant coin forever, you posting things about XRP dropping, it was like down 4% yesterday. It may be time to get another hobby. That's just me being 1000% honest. The crypto community does not need any toxic people right now. We need, and I know it sounds stupid and or corny and or cheesy, we need unification right now, because our markets get battered a bit worse than traditional markets do. So if you feel the need in your heart to post negative comments because a coin you do not own is going down in price, maybe just take a step back for like 2 or 3 weeks and reevaluate if you want to continue in the cryptocurrency space. Ethereum is also down, even after the entire Raiden network thing. To be fair, Raiden is still in alpha, so this may be also cause for a price drop as well. But as of right now, Big Daddy Bitcoin is it's not, things aren't that bad. And to be fair, this is why I like that they have this 7-day thing over here. It shows that while things are looking a little grim at the moment over the broader market, you know, we still are in the green over the past 7 days. Is this typically what you have to look for? You know, if this was also like a minus sign and in red, I'd be like, okay, there's a problem here. We did have a push up. EOS was like $1.50. Bitcoin was 3,200 or something like that. I think XRP was 28 cents. So the market isn't doing too bad. Ethereum was below 100. Hopefully this is just a little trip in the road. No other coins have really been in the news, at least at the moment. I think everyone is kind of trending down simply because Bitcoin is trending down. Yeah, I hope that we figure out a way to decouple ourselves from the traditional market. And once again, I think that the only realistic thing right now that's going to do that is the launch of Backed or that's about it. We need something to so when you look around, part of the reason why Bitcoin was actually doing very well over the last couple of days is because we had that jump up. What ended up happening is that a lot of people were like, there was like a short squeeze. So people who were betting against the price of Bitcoin, they got squeezed out of the market. And what ends up happening is that if you have a price of Bitcoin at 3,200 and Bitcoin flies up to 4,200, like a mini FOMO activates in the brain, and people go, well, I lost my position at, you know, trying to get Bitcoin at 3,100 and it's at 4,200. If it does go up to 5,000, I have to start buying into it right now as a just in case. So there was like a huge percolating something of the Bitcoin price and the volume in particular. So a huge shoot up. As you can see, these are typically not the volumes that we have for these three coins. And it kind of led to this, you know, bubbling up of prices. So this is kind of what ended up happening. Let's hope that something like that ends up happening again. Like I said, I'm tired of the narrative of the bears and the bulls, because if prices fall by 2 or 3%, I'm so tired of those articles. Like, you'll see something like this and it's like, the bulls are back, and it's like, it didn't even go up by 1%. Just like, leave it alone. What we need is like a major run up. I can feel the sentiment. The market at large is ready for a run up. This has nothing to do with like broader market sentiment of we need you know, like the market's simply not ready. Like, prices have to go down like across the board. There's no way that 100 million people right now are all psychically linked and they're all like, hey, we need the market to all go down because Bitcoin is too overpriced. That's, excuse my language, that's BS. Everyone in the market right now, from major analysts to everyone else, wants the market to go back up. And what we have right now is it's probably a couple of 3 or 4 heavy-handed individual investors who know exactly what they have to do. First of all, you have to understand that a lot of people who are in the cryptocurrency space were into traditional financial markets before. They know, like, to a T, like, this is all math, and this is why it's so important. They know exactly how much of Bitcoin that they have to sell off mathematically to be able to dump prices to this low and therefore have a broader, wider market move. It all comes down to numbers, especially when we have indications. Imagine for a second that you have 100,000 Bitcoin and you know that the last time you moved 15,000 Bitcoin to another wallet that the prices went down by 12-11%. You do this over and over and over, and then you sell your stuff over the counter and you start I mean, the potential for manipulation that we have in the cryptocurrency market is absolutely incredible. Like, if you, when years from now, and I'm waiting for this, even though I don't want to grow old too quick anyway, in about 15-20 years, when we have books written about cryptocurrencies and like the beginning of the market and stuff like that, and we see the amount of things that were happening, we're all going to sit there completely shocked, because I can only imagine the stuff that's happening behind the scenes. There's no actual reason for any of these prices to be this low. And I was listening to something in a podcast, and what the guy said made so much sense. He said the technicals for the cryptocurrencies haven't changed. Like, i.e., there's been no negative, how do I say this? The tech for Bitcoin from when the price was 20,000 to where it is right now hasn't changed. Bitcoin is still Bitcoin. XRP is still XRP. If anything, these protocols and these things have had more upgrades than when we were at the end of 2017. So the fundamentals of what Bitcoin is what XRP is, what Ethereum does, what Bitcoin Cash is and EOS is. These things haven't changed since we had the last bull run up. So it's always interesting to think of that. Like, there hasn't been, Bitcoin has had a roughly like a, was it 70-80% decline in price since $20,000. 70 to 80% of the Bitcoin blockchain hasn't been destroyed or torn apart. It's kind of interesting to think about. You know, if we got to that price before, what then warrants a price drop down? It typically comes down to what I call heavy-handed investors who are just trying to scoop up as much for themselves as possible. Anyway, I'm done ranting. Today is the 25th at the time of me making this video. I hope that you all have a wonderful holiday. Hope you all have a merry, happy, super awesome, amazing Christmas. I hope that you got everything that you wanted and or that you asked for. 2018 has been a very interesting year. It's not even over yet. We still have about a week left. The point is, hope you all enjoy your day. I'm not depressed and or sad, despite what my voice sounds like. I think I just need some tea. It's also really cold here. It's like 1 degree. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great Christmas, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I hope it's absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. Thank you once again for watching and listening. I do appreciate all of your support. Despite the prices being so low, make sure to watch a Christmas movie. Watch something happy. Just make sure to laugh and have fun, enjoy, stuff yourself full of food. If you're alone, call a friend, text a friend, hang out with somebody. Thank you all once again, and yeah, I'll talk to you all soon. See you.